morning, dear customers. Welcome to our eConfig training for designing, especially for English speakers. My name is Jan Marek. Together with me is here also my colleague Szymon Szczotka.
Good morning.
And as I mentioned, we are here to talk about our software eConfig. First thing first, what's the purpose of the software? Let's go through quick points. The software is designed to prepare price information, technical specifications, offers, orders, product configurations, and designs of Eaton distribution boards. So it means that this software allows you to prepare price information, technical specification, offers or orders, then select products from the database based on type designation or based on technical parameters, and search for the product price. For some product groups, mainly for MCCBs, you can assign suitable accessories for a basic device and check their mutual relations, so that you are sure that you do not make a configuration which is not working together. And last but not least, you can design distribution boxes, low voltage ProfiPlus distribution boards, and XVTL standalone distribution boards. Logical question is where to get the eConfig or where to obtain the eConfig. You get the registration form, and after your registration, you will obtain an email where you get all the necessary information for installation. So it means link for downloading of the software and software key and so on. So after your registration, which is free, which is completely free, you don't need to pay anything for the software, you will get email with all the installation information. And now I think it's time to start to really go to the program and to see what is it about. So after installation of eConfig and after first launch, you will see screen similar to this one, which is now shown. You have, or the eConfig is split into three different windows. First window, which we can see right now, is the project window, and I assume that in this window you will spend most of the time working in the eConfig, because in this window you are preparing offers, orders, you can configure distribution boards, etc. Second window is a database of products, where you have this tree structure in which all the products which are in offering of Eaton branch in your country are included in this tree. So based on what you are looking for, you can find it in this database. For example, if we are looking for MCB type PL7, we can go to installation devices, circuit breakers, MCBs. PL7 is in residential applications, so now I choose PL7. For example, B characteristics. And when you click on the last folder in this tree structure, in the middle section of this window, you will get a list of all products which are in this folder. So without knowing any ordering number, without knowing any type designation, you are able to find desired product through this tree structure of products. And last window is I'm always calling it as a view to the database itself, a really quick view where you see all the products as they are also in the tree structure, but they are here in one big pile, I would call it. And you can filter in this, or you can search for a desired product in this window according to order number. but the order number must be exactly the same as it is for the product itself. Or you can search based on type designation, or you can search for some text string in the product description. And in this field, you can see at the first glance rebate group, gross price, net price, and so on. And whole work with econfig consists in working in these three windows. Shimon, feel free to add anything if I miss something or forget something, so that we have also some discussion.
I think everything is explained right, so go on.
What I need to mention also is that the database which I've shown you right now is edited by us, by Eaton, so it means you cannot edit anything in these databases. If there is some product missing and you are convinced that this product should be there, just write us an email and we will check whether it is a mistake or the product is not intended for sale in that region. And basically we are updating this database on monthly basis via on-air updates, which are done automatically. When the update is issued, then after first launch of econfig asks you whether you want to update the software or not. So it's really good to update the software immediately after we issue an update, so that you are working still with the correct information. But it can happen sometimes that you need to work also with products which are not in Eaton's offering. For example, terminal blocks or help me, Shimon, what else?
Some devices, special or...
Yeah, special devices which are not in the Eaton offering. And you want to include them in your project or in your distribution board, which you are configuring in Eaton econfig. So for this purpose, we have here database of not Eaton products, I would call it. Where to get to this database? In this top menu, here icon data. And when I click on the data, here you can see third-party product database. After installation of econfig, you will get this database with some basic stuff like I mentioned, terminal blocks and so other devices. And in this database, you can make any changes you want. You can add any product, delete products, and so on and so on. So with this database, you can work as you want or as you wish, but you cannot work with the main database of Eaton products. econfig is a really huge program with many functions and many possibilities, and that's the reason why are we two here today, so that it's not really good to handle all the econfig by just one person, because it has really many functions. I believe that you will choose only the functions which you need for your work. You don't need to use all the possibilities which we show you here right now. Nevertheless, we want to show you the complexity of the econfig and all the possibilities. And for the, I believe that also some beginners are viewing us, so we will really go from basic stuff to more advanced work with econfig. So how to work with databases and how to search for something and so on. So in this tree structure, I have already shown you how to work with it. Just once more for example, some late viewers who come late. When you want to search for any Eaton product and you do not know type designation or order number, you can still, or you will be still able to find the desired product based on this tree structure, as you can see here on the left hand side of the window. So if we are looking, for example, for some RCD, it could be RCD, I will go to installation devices, then I choose RCDs. I'm looking, for example, for PF7 type, so or RCD 40 amps, 30 milliamp residual current. I think I can find it here as well. 2-pole device, for example, and when I am at the last folder, all the products which are included in the last folder will appear in the middle section of the window, and I can see basic technical information like nominal current, nominal residual current, type designation, order number, rebate group. And after clicking details or F2 key on your keyboard, you can get to more informations. These are more for example, EVSs or for and also for technicians, because you can see here what is basic package, bulk package, EN code, but also size, weight of the product. And at the bottom of this field, you can find as well link to the electronic catalog, where you can find additional information to this product. At the right side, you can see of this window, you can see also a picture of the product, size or technical drawing, and also image of the connection or internal connection of the device, if it is applicable. And with this picture, you can also work, you can save them to your computer and use them for whatever you want. You can upload them, for example, to AutoCAD and work with them in AutoCAD as well. And if you are working in a department when you are responsible for example, making offerings, from this window you can insert desired product to the offer. How to do it? For example, in the offer should be this product, which is now highlighted in blue. And just simply selecting quantity of the products. For example, 5 products should be in the quotation, and pushing button insert. You will get these products into your inquiry or into your quotation. Okay. So when I close this window, you can see that in the window project, in the material list, are here now 5 pieces of this product. Similar function is also with other window, with the database. Project. This one. So with this window, you can work in similar way, but work with this window needs some knowledge of Eaton products, so that you are looking for specific ordering number or for specific type designation. For example, I know that I'm looking for PL7 breaker, characteristics B, nominal current 16 amps, 1 pole. And I can look up for this product in this window as well. And it is in most cases it's much faster to work with this database than with the tree structure database. So just by starting typing the type designation in the field find type designation, you will get to the products which you really need for your quotation or for for your enclosure or whatever. So after you type your type designation, econfig automatically jumps to the nearest or closest match to the type designation. And similar to previous window, you can also click on details, where you get the details the same as in the tree structure window. At the bottom also you can see a link to the e-catalog. I will close it. And also you can, from this window, you can insert these products to your quotation. So if we need to quotate 10 pieces of this breaker, I just change the quantity at the bottom of this field to 10. And by clicking insert, I'm skipping this window because this window we will need in the future, not for this work. So I will speak about this window later on. So I have inserted 10 pieces to the quotation, and if I check the project window and the material list, you can see that now we have here also 10 breakers. Oh, for the project, blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay, great. And now I also show you how to work with third-party product database so that the information is complete. So when I open the third-party database, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are already some pre-filled products, and how to manage this database. It's really simple. If you need to add a new product in this database, you need to click on the icon Add New Product to Database. We will need to make up some name for it, or some description. For example, terminal block Phoenix. For example, I will make up some type designation. For example, this one. What's the net price? For example, 10 euros. It's really expensive terminal block. And also we need to select whether the product is basic device or it's accessories to some or the existing device, or is the common product, for example, service. And what is the difference between these three things? Basic device means that this device is, I would call it, standalone device. It's not intended to be used with another device. Accessory, it can be, for example, auxiliary contacts, motor operator, or whatever. Shimon, what do you think?
Accessory, yes. For example, accessory for some device, tripping unit, auxiliary contact, or so on. Yeah. And
common product or service, it's when you want to offer, I would say, comprehensive quotation or inquiry. It's better to say, in this case, inquiry, that for whole, I would say, installation, when you want to be able to see also price for the work, you can create in this database, for example, product, which is 1 hour work. So you can say that I will work on this installation 6 hours, and if you create 1 hour work product here, you can then place it 6 times to your quotation, so that the customer also sees what you want for the devices and what you want for your work itself. But in our case, terminal block is a basic device. then we need to fill in what is the mounting of the device, whether it is on DIN rail, on mounting plate, or it is put on the shelf, or it is mounting to busbar system or to panel. In our case, it's to DIN rail. Then we need to select the size of the terminal block. For filling in the size, this picture is really helpful because it really shows you what size is what, or what dimension is what. I will leave it now. Weight, for example, 0.1 kilos. Power loss. It's good to always also fill in the power loss, because later on when you are calculating temperature rise in the distribution boards, it's much easier to calculate it with the devices which have all filled in the power loss. Okay, and our terminal block is now in the database of third-party devices. And you can work with this product in the similar way as we have worked with Eaton product. So you can now place it to the offering, to the inquiry, to the material list, to the distribution board, and so on and so on. You can also edit this database or this product by clicking Edit Selected Products, but you can get the same window. You just change what you need to change, or you can delete any products from this database by clicking on Delete Selected Products from Database icon. You can also make export of this database to Excel when you have this database really huge and you need to make a backup of this database. It's always good to export this database to Excel. And for example, after reinstallation of econfig, you can import the backup to the econfig once more. Okay, so that was the third-party product database, and we need to take a look also on customer database, because it's also something what you might need. So this is database for all the customers which you are working, for example, on daily basis, or regular basis. And when you are making any quotation for them, so that you don't need to fill in all the details of the customer. You just create this customer in the database, and then work with the inquiry is much easier. The work with this database is similar to the database for third-party devices. So it means when I click on insert line, I can create a new line and create new customer in the database. For example, company could be, I will write Eaton, street, city, Prague, and I could fill all the database itself, or all the necessary fields. And later on, Shimon will show you how to work with this database when you are making, or when you edit the project, and you really want to have a comprehensive inquiry for the customer. So that was the database of customers, and I think that right now I can pass this to Shimon, and he will show you how to work with enclosures and with the project, and how to create enclosure in the project.
Yes, Jan, you are quite too fast. Yeah, we will get, sure we got to the enclosures and distribution boards, but first I would like to show you some other functions which are also very helpful and can help you in your job. So I will show you how to edit the project, how to work with the database Jan just, or with the list of devices that Jan just created. I will show you also how to import the devices from Excel to econfig, and I will also show you how to set the price conditions, the discount. So let me show you how to edit further your material list. There is one difference between my screen and between the screen of the econfig of the Jan econfig. And why is there a difference? It's because in econfig project we have two basic types of objects. We have material list and we have distribution boards. What is the difference between these two objects? The difference is that if we choose material list, here on the left corner of the project structure window, in the material list, you can see that the program windows are a little bit different. It's because if we choose material list, we can only create a list of devices, a list of the products, and we cannot. Material list is not intended to configure or designing of a switchboard itself. So you can only create a list of materials.
And if I may, it's the material list is only, or its purpose is to prepare price information, quotations, inquiries, and so on. But when you really need to prepare detailed
design the switchboard.
Design of the switchboard, you really need to use then the object switchboard and not material list.
So we will now work with the distribution board object, because we will want to show you also how to design a switchboard. But the work with databases, like Jan showed you, it's exactly the same. If you choose material list or a distribution board, the work with databases is really the same. Okay, so let me show you some useful functions which you can use in the material list. If we click on the tab here on the bottom, devices and accessories, we can see here the list of devices we insert into the project, and see a very useful function is that we can switch between detailed and concise view of the list of devices. So less detailed view is shown here. It shows the sum of the products, and detailed view showed you each product on a separate line. Of course, you can in the material list you can remove some devices if you made a mistake, and if you want to remove some device. Of course, it's possible. It's third icon from the right, delete device. So you just click on the device in your material list. You can also select multiple devices by clicking Control button, or by clicking Shift. You can choose multiple devices, and then simple you can delete the devices from the list. Also, don't be afraid to use, if you made some mistake, don't be afraid to use function undo. The shortcut is Ctrl Z, so you can always undo the last action you made. And also you can, here in the list of devices, you can move the devices up and down like you wish. It can be very useful when you are preparing the list of devices for the schematic drawing. Jan will show you later the
single line diagram.
Single line diagram. Jan will show you later. Okay, maybe other thing which is also important and should be done in the beginning of the working with project is that you should always fill the details about the project in econfig. And how we can do that? It's through the button File, and here is the properties, and you can see that there are several tabs. The first is about the project, so you should choose whether the project is price information, order, offer, or just technical specification. Then this information will be shown in the every output file you export from the econfig. You should also define a name of the project. So, for example, training. Also the number of the project. Then elaborator is the person who is working with econfig, who is creating the project. I recommend to fill this tab from the first time you launch econfig, and then save the settings, and econfig will remember your settings. So you don't need to fill it anymore. And also material recipient you should fill. We can select from a database of customers. Okay, I can choose the default customer company one, which is created in econfig. And there are also discount and surcharges, but this I will show you later. Okay, so Jan showed you how to insert devices or some material from the database. There is also another way how to insert some materials in econfig, and this is the import function. Import function is useful when you have some list of the devices in Excel file, and you want to work with these devices in econfig. Then you can simply import all the devices from the Excel file to the econfig. How this can be done? In our object distribution board, in tab Devices and Accessories, we have icon load list of or import list of devices. So we can click on that. Then in the following window, we have to choose the Excel file from which we want to import our products. So I will choose the file. I have prepared some sample, so I will choose it. And then in the window we can show the Excel file. We can see the table, and next steps are that we have to choose a column with order number and column with the quantity of the products. So column with the order number in my case is column B, so I will choose B, B2. You can see that it's highlighted in red now. And then I select the column with quantity, it's column D4. So I select column D4. And that's quite everything. Then I just click on the OK button, and econfig will inform me about whether the import was successful or not, and how many products were imported. I can see that in my file I had 7 lines with the products, and number of imported lines is 7. So each line was imported into econfig, so import was successful. So that was an import. And okay, let me show you how to set the price conditions for the project, how to set the discounts, because this is of course very important. So we have two ways how to set the price conditions for our project. Either we can set the price conditions for project itself, or we can set the price conditions for the customer, which is for who we are creating this project. So let me show you the first way how to set the price conditions for project. It's done. You have to click on the tab File on the left up corner, then button Properties. You already know this window, but here is the tab Discount and Surcharges. And if we show the discount and surcharges table for this project, it looks like this. So we have a table. In the first column we have a discount group. So each product is how to say it? Each product has its own, or each product group has its own discount group. So for example, PL7 circuit breakers have discount group CC. And in this table, we can't directly set the discounts or surcharges for particular discount group. So for example, I want to set the discount for PL7 circuit breakers. So just click on the table, and I can set, for example, 50% of discounts, and it works the same for each line. If you have a list of the discounts in Excel file, you can also import this list to this table, so you don't need to fill one by one in this table. You can import the list of the discounts simply through this button down here, Load Table from Excel file. The Excel file should look like the same as here. So you have in left column discount group, then discount and surcharge. If you have the table in the same format, then you can simply import the table. okay, and also there is another way how to set price conditions for project, and this is that you can use price coefficient instead of discounts and surcharges. What does that mean? If you use price coefficient, it means that all the brutto prices in eConfig, and eConfig shows the brutto prices, all the prices will be multiplied by a number which you specify here in the right bottom corner. So for example 1.4 or some other number, and then all prices will be multiplied by this number. So in this way we can set the discounts for the project with which we are working just now, but also we can set the discounts for the customer itself. For that we have to go back to the tab data and database of the customers, and here is the list of the customers. Jan showed you how to create a new customer, but also you have basic information about customer here, but also you have the information here also about the discounts for each customer. It's here under this button, third from the right, discounts and surcharge table for the customer. And as you can see, the table looks exactly the same way as I just shown you. It looks the same way as the table for the project, but this is not table for the project. This is table of discounts and surcharges for a material recipient, so for customer. Work with this table is exactly the same. So you can either set a discount or surcharge directly in the table, or you can load the table of discounts from the Excel file, or you can use price coefficient. If you then save these settings by clicking on the OK button, the settings, the price conditions will be saved to this customer, and eConfig will remember this data. So you can fill it once, and then you have the data always available. Okay, so this is then all from my side from now. Maybe Jan, I don't know if we make the break now or.
Oh, we will. It's too soon.
Okay.
Okay, so next thing which we want to show you is how to draw a single line diagrams in eConfig, because it's I would say it's latest functionality, and I believe that not many people know about this functionality in eConfig. So let's get started with drawing of single line diagram. So for this purpose, we need in the project structure or in the project window object distribution board, because single line diagram is drawn based on the devices which are inserted in distribution board. So let's make quick selection of devices which we need to have in the diagram, and then I will show you how to work with the module of the drawing. So when I have distribution board, I do not need to select any concrete distribution board. I just need to have in project structure this object, and when I move to devices and accessories in this distribution board at the bottom of the window. I will here then create a list of material or list of devices which are in the distribution board. But before I start, I need to notice you that the module for single line diagrams its intention is to create simple applications like household installations and so on. So it's not really intended to be used for creation of whole, for example, production plant of some kind or whatever. It really needs to be, or it's really intended to be used as a simple tool to create household installation diagram and so on. So what we have in the household, I believe that in the distribution board, in the typical residential applications, we have some switches, some RCDs, some MCCBs, and so on. So first thing first, I want to have main switch in the distribution board. So I'm looking for the main switch. For example, I can use this tree structure window. Installation devices, RCDs. I do not need right now RCDs. Motor starter, switches, connectors.
It's switches can. No.
No, it's auto devices. Modular switches. Yes. Yes, main switch. So 3-pole switch, for example, 32 amps. I will insert one. This I want to skip. We can now fill in some device tags. For example, this will be as a queue number 1. I will add the tag. Then I will have there SPD, surge protection device. So I will add to the distribution board surge protection device. There is surge arresters, for example, T1 plus T2, modular, SPB T12, TNS, insert, okay. Then I will have, for example, one RCD, 30 milliamps for light circuits. Okay. And one RCD for socket circuits. And last but not least, MCBs, for example, 3 MCBs for light circuits, and 3 MCBs for socket circuits. Insert. Okay. So I have created a list of material in the distribution board, and according to this material, then the actual diagram will be drawn automatically by econfig. Short recap: we have main switch, we have SPD, we have 2 RCDs and a bunch of MCBs in the distribution board. So, and when I click wiring diagram icon, as you can see here, then new window will pop up and we get single line diagram. Of course, the single line diagram is drawn according to some rules. I will talk about these rules later on. And you can see at the first glance that we will need some editing. Editing is possible, but first thing first, let's talk about the basic rules according to which the diagram is drawn. As you can see, all the devices are drawn at the position at which they were inserted to the distribution board. So, for example, at the first we have inserted the main switch, so we can see the main switch at the first position. At the second, we have inserted into distribution board surge arrestor, therefore it is in the second position. Then at the third and fourth position, we have inserted RCDs, therefore RCDs are drawn at the third and fourth position. And also according to the position in the distribution board, are drawn also circuit breakers. But there are some exceptions. No matter when I put a breaker with the highest nominal current in the distribution board, this breaker or switch disconnector is always shown as an incomer, so it is automatically moved to the first position. In our case, it is not visible because we have already selected a main switch with 32 amps, so it is the highest nominal current of the all devices, or of the all breakers or switch disconnectors, so it was automatically drawn at the first position. Then, no matter when I choose SPD, or no matter when I insert SPD into the distribution board material list, it is always drawn at the second position. Third rule is each RCD will create its own bus bar, and all the devices included to the distribution board material list after this RCD are connected to this bus bar created by the RCD. As we can see it here at the example of FE2 or FI2, that all the circuit breakers which have been connected or which have been inserted into the distribution board after the RCD are connected to the bus bar which is created by the second RCD. So that was the basic, or these were the basic rules. You can see that all the drawing is made in TNS network. Can we change it somehow? Yes, we can, but we can change only the incomer to the distribution board, and the rest of the distribution board must be anyway in the TNS network. So the main incomer can be, for example, TNC supply, or the supply can be net type TNC. So when I choose TNC line, then we can see that we have 4 here now four conductors, and here you can see point of separation of PEN conductor to PENN conductor. And the rest of the installation is in TNCS network type. Okay, and how to move with the products, how to shift them from, for example, one bus bar to another, and so on. It's really simple. You can see clearly we have here some dotted lines, and these dotted lines represent, I would say, positions in the circuit diagram and levels in the circuit diagram, because we have here vertical dotted lines and horizontal vertical lines. So when I, for example, need to connect this first breaker to the main bus bar, I just need to move it from second line, which is from second level, which is represented with this line and this line, to first level, which is represented with this line and this line. So I will with the left click mouse, I will select the breaker or the product which I need to shift to the different bus bar, and as soon as this blue rectangle appear, I can click once more to this blue rectangle and move the breaker to the level 1, and it is automatically connected to the main bus bar, as you can see here. So this is how to move the products between bus bars. And you can also move products between themselves. For example, when I need to insert this circuit breaker in front of this RCD, it's really easy. It's always better to move it like this, that I will firstly connect it to the main bus bar, and then I will move it on the place of the RCD. And then econfig will automatically draw it or redraw it. So, but this is not, we are not still done with the editing. What I need to have here is that all three 10 amps breakers should be connected to this bus bar, and all 16 amp breakers should be connected to this bus bar. So firstly, what I do is I connect these 10 amp breakers to the main bus bar, then I will shift them behind the first RCD, and then I can simply move them to second level, and they are automatically connected to the bus bar which is created by this first RCD. So it means that this first RCD is intended for protection of light circuits, and this RCD protects socket circuits, or socket circuits. But we are still not finished with the editing, because now we need to edit also these windows. How to edit them? It's really easy. Just by double click on the line, you can edit all the informations connected to the line. So to which phases we are connected with this breaker? What is the this is not type designation. This is project designation, I would call it. then whether it is supply or load, which cables are used for connecting of this circuit. For example, here this one, and detailed description of this circuit. So we can choose either from this menu, or we can write our own text. For example, lights in hallway, for example. And yes, after we have filled all these informations for all the circuits, then we are finished with the drawing of single line diagram. You can still edit more things in this diagram. For example, when you want to have only on one page all these lines, just by clicking options, you can edit paper format, number of outlets per page. We can, for example, select 12, and height of the text. So this is also everything what you are able to do. Now we can print it out with the printer, or save it to the PDF, or save it to the DXF, so that you can then edit it in the AutoCAD as well, or close it. When I close it right now and open it again, it remembers my editing, so you don't need to make it once more. So this is really cool stuff, but it's always better to save it also, or to save it with the project as well. So that was to drawing of single line diagrams. To this we do not have any question, but Shimon, we have one question to the previous blog. The question is, we have our own calculation of prices. Can we import our prices?
No, this is not possible in eConfig. You can see the brutto prices. You can only set the discounts, the surcharges, or the price coefficient, but you cannot import your own prices. Your own prices you can have only in for third-party products in third-party database.
Yes, that's true. I will just make some comments. As Shimon shown in the previous part, when you have different discounts for the products in the same rebate group, there is no way how to implement it to the eConfig. You can implement it only when you have the same discount for whole rebate group. Then you can work with it, and you can insert your own net prices. But it's always done only via percentual discount. Maybe Shimon, one question to you. Do you have anything to add to previous sections of the trainings?
I don't think so. Maybe one thing, it can look like the basic thing, but no, not everybody knows that. How to save the project and how to open the project. Maybe just you can show that we can always save our project to the computer, and then
at any time
yeah. And then at any time we can open the project directly in eConfig and continue working.
Okay, so I think we will show it after the configurator stuff, and now let's jump to the configuration. So when I speak about configurator, what does it mean? eConfig has one neat function which allows you to configure MCCBs. It means that it allows you to configure basic device, which is breaker, and its accessories. so that you are sure that you are not putting an accessories which is not compatible to the breaker itself or himself. I have here, I can work in material, or it works in material list as well as in distribution board, it doesn't matter. I will be now in material list, so that we have here more space in which you can see what I'm doing. So, in order to be configurator working, we need to select mode of the configurator. It is done by this button. The configurator has 4 modes. In this mode, when you can see here that we have here 3 red rectangles and a question mark, it means that in this mode the configurator is switched off. So it means that econfig doesn't check relation between basic device and accessories. Second mode is this one, so it means there is still question mark, but the rectangles are changed a little bit. So it means that the relations are still not checked, but you can create a structural list of material. What is it? I will get to this later on. Fourth mode is, I have here a bit of help, a configurator mode, which still not checks the relations. So it means that it still allows you to put to the basic device, for example, more auxiliary contacts than it's really physically possible with the breaker. But it gives you information at the right hand corner of the line whether this combination is okay or not. And in last mode, where is here this green check mark, I would call it. It means that configurator mode is on. It checks relations between basic device and its accessories, and it won't allow you to enter any accessories which is not compatible with the basic device. So I have here now this configurator mode on, as you can see, and let's configure, for example, one NZM breaker with some accessories. So for this, I will search, for example, with through this window. I will search for breaker. It will be NZM N2, for example, VE 100. Yeah. I will insert the breaker. As you can see, the breaker is here. And now when I open this window, then it means that I say to a config, I want to choose accessories to this basic device, to this breaker. As you can see here, we have here still the tree structure, but in the tree structure, I have already only the accessories which is compatible with the basic device. So, for example, if we are speaking about releases, for example, under voltage releases, I can see only the releases which are compatible with size 2 breaker. So they are not size 1, size 4. The same is, for example, with rotary handles, remote operators, and so on, and so on, and so on. So let's make a breaker, the NZM breaker, where I want to have one under voltage release, and I want to have there as many auxiliary contacts as possible. I think this is the basic work with this configurator. So, for example, under voltage release 240 volts. I will insert it, and now econfig is asking me where this accessories is placed, and econfig knows that under voltage release is fitted inside the device. So I do not need to change anything here. Click OK. And in the material list, we can see that we have basic device, this is circuit breaker, and with some optical, I would call it optical connection, we have under voltage released, which is linked to the basic device. Now I want to place there also auxiliary contacts. So let's check auxiliary contacts. Into this breaker, I believe we can place 2 auxiliary contacts. So what happens when I try to place there, for example, 5 auxiliary contacts? So I have select quantity of 5. I click insert. Then econfig knows that this is accessories to selected basic device. It is mounted inside the device. So what will happen? So with this, with the check or with the relation check switched on, I get a warning that there is a collision between accessories within the assembly. So it means I'm trying to put inside the breaker 5 auxiliary contacts, but the maximum number of auxiliary contacts is only 2. So therefore, it didn't do anything. Let's check it. Yeah. There are no auxiliary contacts, and I have to change my selection or my input so that it's correct now. So I changed the quantity from 5 to 2. I click insert. OK. And now everything went OK, because as you can see here in the text, product inserted in the project. And we can find now the auxiliary contacts in the material list. So this is a really neat function, because econfig helps you to create assembly with the check, so that you won't design anything which is not physically possible in the field to create. Let's put there another thing. For example, right now we want to put in the breaker also motor operator. So how to do it? Let's check for motor operators or remote operator. 240 volts. I will insert one, and yes, now it is not possible, because I have already two auxiliary contacts in the breaker, but the motor operator needs for its function 1 auxiliary contact. So therefore I need to reduce the number of auxiliary contacts which are already placed in the breaker, so that I am able to put there the auxiliary contact from the remote operator. How to do it? Through this icon, modify quantity. I'll modify quantity of these auxiliary contacts to just 1. And now I should be able to place there also the remote operator. So I will insert 1. OK. And it went through. So I have now assembly of circuit breaker, under voltage release, auxiliary contact, and remote operator. So this is how it works for MCCBs. We need to say that this relation checks works only for MCCBs. So it means for NZM and for power defense breakers. But you can also create assemblies, for example, of RMQ devices or RMQ control buttons and so on. And now it's like a question, why should I do it when the relation check is not there? It's a really good question, and the answer is simple, because when you configure RMQ products in this mode, even without the check, then you can place the whole assembly into the drawing of the enclosure. So let's check how to do it. I have now changed the configurator mode so that it checks the relations, or it creates relations, but it doesn't check them. So it means that it creates relations in the same way like we have it for the circuit breaker, that we have basic device, and below the basic device we have all the accessories. And let's put there, for example, some button, RMQ button. It's under control circuit devices, RMQ. What we can put there, actuators, push button actuators, for example, illuminated, flat, spring return, titanium. So I want to use, for example, this button. I will insert it into my material list as a basic device. Okay. And now, with this mode still on, I will create the whole assembly. So the whole assembly contains actual push button, then it contains also some functional elements and the fixing adapter. So fixing adapter for 3 elements, for example, M22-A. I will insert it, but I won't insert it as a basic device, but I will insert it as accessories to selected device. Okay. How does it look like? In our material list, you can see push button actuator, and accessories to this is fixing adapter. This yellow question marks means that there are no rules in the database for check of the relations. So it's really up to you whether you are making the good assembly. And let's put there also some functional elements. So I will put there, for example, one LED. Okay, and one contact element. So how does it look like? Yeah. So we have now structural list of push button actuator and its accessories. So fixing adapter, LED light, and contact element. And now I can put this assembly to the drawing of the distribution board, and it appears in the drawing as a real assembly. So how to do it? By mistake, I have done it in material list, but it doesn't matter. I can choose whole the assembly. Copy it to the clipboard, go to distribution board, put it into device and accessories, Control V, okay. Okay, what's the issue? Proč mi to nefunguje?
No problem. I can show it later how to.
No, we will do it.
Okay.
Tak. Now it's working. Yeah. So now I have the whole assembly in the distribution board, and when I select, it doesn't matter which distribution board, for example this one, and I want to place these accessories into distribution board or this this assembly. I will fit it. So that was the configurator. We do not have any questions to configurator, so we can go to another block, which is creation of distribution board. So now it's up to you.
Yeah, maybe I would add one little thing. The configurator for the circuit breakers, which check the relations, is available not only for NZM and power defense breakers, but also for ACBs.
Yeah.
So IZM 16, 40 and 63 breakers. Okay, so let's now switch to the configuration of the distribution board, which is probably the most interesting and most used feature in econfig. I will show you two approaches or two different situations. One situation is when we designing the little distribution board for household applications, and another situation, another approach is when we designing the bigger switchboard like ProfiPlus or XVTL. They are configured in a different way. So I will show you how. So let's start with the easiest one. I will show you how to design a very simple distribution board, for example, for some household, flat or house application. So when we are configuring or designing the switchboard, the first thing we should do in econfig is that we create a list of material. This is the right approach. First create the list of material and then choose a suitable switchboard. Never do it vice versa. I will show you later why. So list of material we have created. We can use the list of material which Jan created for drawing the single line diagram. And we will now choose or insert an empty distribution board into econfig. How we can do that? In econfig, we have to click on our object, distribution board. By the way, the objects here in the left window, of course, we can rename them or change the number of pieces, copy them, and so on. So, for example, I can rename this distribution board training distribution board. And how to insert an empty distribution board. If we double click on this object, there is a tab called distribution board. And then on the tabs below, there is an icon or button which is called modify distribution board. We click on the button. And then in the following window, we have to choose from the different enclosure systems. In econfig, we can configure three distribution board systems. The first is distribution or system xComfort. These are little switchboards which are used in household applications. They are equipped with DIN rails and they are used for mounting of modular devices. Let's say maximum current for this distribution board system is up to 160 amps, and maximum capacity or maximum dimension is up to 198 mounting units. So other system is, or the next system is xEnergy Basic or ProfiPlus system. This is a flexible system of flash-mounted, surface-mounted, and stand-alone enclosures up to 630 amps. We have here two categories of this system: user-defined assembly. That means that we have to design the whole structure of the switchboard. And typical assemblies are some typical assemblies, for example, with DIN rails or meter throws, which are pre-defined in econfig. And the third group of distribution board systems is xEnergy Lite or XVTL system, which are stand-alone distribution boards up to 1600 amps. xEnergy main system cannot be designed in econfig. There is another Eaton configurator for xEnergy main system. So our application, as I said, will be a small household application. So we choose xComfort system, click OK, and now we have a window where we have to define our distribution board. So we have here two tabs. In the first, we define the position and the type of the enclosure, and in the other tab, dimensions, we define dimensions of the enclosure. So first of all, we have to choose the position of the distribution board, flush mounted or surface mounted. So for example, flush mounted. Then we have to choose the version of the distribution board. Version, it means the type of the distribution board. Of course, when you choose the different types, you should know the types of the Eaton distribution boards. But if you do not know in details which type is which, you have a little help here with the purple letters. So, for example, if I choose BFU series, this type is described here. It's the large capacity metal compact distribution boards up to 160 amps and so on, so on. So this help is very useful for you. So we can choose, for example, BFU series, color, door, rear panel, and design. And then after we choose the type, position of the enclosure, we have to choose the dimensions. Here is why we always have to first create the list of devices and then choose the enclosure, because if we choose that approach, econfig will count the number of modules which should be installed into the enclosure, and then we can choose the right dimension of enclosure according to that number. So we need enclosure with at least 21 modules, as shown here. So we can choose basically any enclosure from that list. Let's choose, for example, 96 modules. Here in the right window, you can see the simple drawing of that enclosure. You can see that there are 4 rows of DIN rails. You can see the dimensions here as well. And then if we click on the OK button, the empty enclosure will be drawn into the window dimensional drawing here. The working with this window is the same as working in AutoCAD, so you can move the screen by pressing the wheel on your mouse. You can zoom by scrolling down or up. It's like working with AutoCAD software. It's really the same. So okay, we have now empty enclosures inserted, and the next step is to insert the devices into that enclosure. So how we can do that? It's very simple. We have to skip back to the tab Devices and Accessories, and now we have 2 options how to place the devices or how to fit the devices into the enclosure. First way is very simple and very fast, and it's called auto fitting the devices into the enclosure. It's that icon here in this window. It's a button with or icon with A. It's called auto fit devices in the distribution board, and if we click on that button, eConfig will automatically fit the devices into the enclosure. The advantage of this approach is that the fitting is very fast, but disadvantage is that we cannot control how we cannot control how the devices will be fit into the enclosure. So if we want to fit the devices according to our wish, we have to do it in a different way. So I undo the last action, and we can also fit the devices one by one or by groups. So for example, let's say that on the first DIN rail we will fit main switch and our search arrestor. So I will select these 2 devices in my material list, and then I click on the button Fit the selected devices in the distribution board. Then I have to simply choose the mounting rail where I want to fit my devices. So I will choose the first DIN rail, and main switch and search arrestor are fitted into the first DIN rail. In the same way, I can fit, for example, 1 RCD and 3 circuit breakers on the second DIN rail. So I will select them in my devices list. Then through the button Fit the selected devices in the distribution board, I will fit them into the second rail, and the same I will do with the other RCD and other circuit breakers. So as you can see, it's really simple. It's really simple. Of course, you can also move the devices when you fit the devices into your enclosure, and you want to move them to another rail, for example. You can do that. For these purposes, there is a function called transfer devices from rail to rail. So let's say that I want to move the main switch and search arrestor to the last DIN rail. So how to do that? I click on the icon transfer devices from rail to rail. Then I select the devices which are to be moved. So I click on the main switch and search arrestor. Then I click the right button on mouse to exit the selection of the devices. And then simple, I will select the new mounting rail to fit the devices. So I will choose the last DIN rail. And that's it. So as you can see, it's really easy. Now, if we have such a small or simple distribution board, all we can do now, or all we have to do now for complete the designing of the switchboard is to fit the blinds in the openings in the front covers. So how we can do that? We have to skip to the top blind flanges, click on the button insert blind flange, and in the following window we can choose the desired blind flange. So for example, we can choose white flange which is divided by 2.25 millimeters. And how we can fit the blinds, just click on the button fit and then choose the opening in the front covers. Yeah, the blinds which I have selected, they are delivered by 6 modules. So econfig covered 6 modules with these blinds. If I want to cover the whole opening, I have to repeat that action. But there is another way how to fit the blinds much faster. I can use the function auto fit the blinds. I can just choose the desired blind flange and then click on the auto fit, and econfig will automatically fit every opening in front covers with blinds I have selected. So if we have such a simple distribution board, this is really everything we can do with it. Configuration of such distribution board is very easy. Why? Because as you can see, when we inserted an empty enclosure into the project, we got a completely assembled enclosure with the front covers, with the DIN rails and so on. So we just had to insert the devices. This is because the xComfort enclosures are delivered completely assembled with DIN rails and front covers. But different situation is when we are configuring or designing the XVTL enclosure or ProfiPlus enclosure. So let me just quickly show you how we can also design such switchboards. So we can change the switchboard to the ProfiPlus. So again, in the top distribution board, I click to icon modify distribution board, and I can select ProfiPlus enclosure. As you can see, the window when I have to define the switchboard is much complicated. The first type design, I have to choose the type of the enclosure, but also the type of assembly, also the type or also the design, whether the mounting rails will be mounted on the mounting frame in the rear or on the mounting sidewall BPZ MSW. So as you can see, it's much more complicated. You can use the help in this window to better understand which construction is, what does this construction mean, and you have also, if you use ProfiPlus or xEnergy system, you should also work with the catalog, because these systems are a little bit more complicated. So in the next step, we can choose the dimensions of the switchboard. Here is the difference, that we don't choose the number of mounting units, we choose the width, height and depth of the enclosure. So I can choose, for example, 800 wide, 1000 height, and there is only one depth. We have also other functionalities here, depending on the selected distribution board system. So we can choose internal partitioning, vertical partition, cable compartment. If we had, for example, wide 100, 200, 1200, you can see that we have some. Yeah. We have some possibilities for internal partitioning as well, and for cable compartment and so on. So it's a little bit more complicated. Also, we can choose the doors, panels and plinth. There are several possibilities how to choose top panel, door, bottom panel, rear panel, plinth, and so on. Then we can also choose accessories, lock, N or PE terminal blocks, wiring diagram, lifting eyeballs, and so on. So we click OK, and you can now see that we inserted only the empty enclosure without any DIN rails, without any covers, and so on. And we now have to also insert into this switchboard mounting rails. Just very quickly show you how to do that. It can be done via the tab mounting rails and mounting plates. We click on the button Insert xEnergy Basic Mounting Rail, and then we can choose on the following window. In the following window, we can choose the type of the mounting rail. So, for example, standard aluminum DIN rail. Then we have to choose the subtype. For example, this first type of DIN rail means that DIN rail is mounted in fixed position in the switchboard. The second option allows to change the depth of the mounting of the DIN rail. Then we have to choose the depth of the mounting rail in the switchboard. And last, we have to define the height on the frame. That means in which height the mounting rail will be mounted. econfig has some default values for that. If you use distance between rails 150 millimeters, then you can use these default values which are set in econfig. You don't need to change anything. You can also insert automatically with DIN rail 150 millimeters high metal cover plate for modular devices. Then you can simply just click to OK, and as you can see, the DIN rail with the front cover are inserted into the enclosure. Of course, if you can then double click on that mounting rail, you can change the properties of this mounting rail. You can change the type of the rail. You can change everything, height on the frame, and so on. In the same way, you can insert also mounting plates, meter strokes, and other mounting rails. As you can see, there is a lot of possibilities what you can insert: chassis bus bars, earthing set, mounting sets for NZM breakers, and so on. So, as I said, you should work also with catalog when you are designing this switchboard system, because it's a little bit more complicated. So in this way, you can insert a DIN rail or other mounting rail into the enclosure, and then you can fit the devices into the enclosure in the same way as I shown you in the previous distribution board. So you can use either auto fit devices, or you can fit the devices one by one or by groups. So for example, I will use auto fitting the devices, and as you can see, devices are fit into the DIN rail. So this is the difference between xComfort little enclosures and bigger enclosures, where you have to also insert mounting rails and front covers. Okay, so let me show you what other possibilities do we have in econfig. Of course, if we work with econfig, if we design some distribution board, if we create some list of material, we want to get some outputs from that software. We want to print the dimensional drawing of the enclosure. We want to export the material list. So how we can do that? It's very simple. In econfig, on the left corner, there is a icon export. If we click on it, econfig will show us the possibilities which we have for for exporting for export. We can export breakdown list for the object which is currently edited. We can export the breakdown list for all objects or for the entire project. We can also export the dimensional drawing in PDF or DXF. And also the third possibility is to export the breakdown list plus dimensional drawing in one document. This is only possible with the PDF. So we can, for example, use this possibility. So we will export breakdown list and dimensional drawings for all distribution boards in my project. So we can select this possibility, click on the OK. Just select the place in the computer. Yes, and then I just have to let me find that folder. How does it look like? The exported document looks like this. So we have breakdown list for the material, and on the next page we have a dimensional drawing of the enclosure. The same way works the breakdown list if we export it into the XLS format for Excel file, or we can also export only the dimensional drawings in PDF or DXF for AutoCAD, for example. Okay, so regarding design of the distribution board, that's all from my side. Of course, I showed you only the basic functionalities because eConfig is very, as Jan said, it's very complex software with a lot of functions. For example, I have been working with eConfig for maybe 8 years, and there are still some functions which are new for me. But when you get used to it, you will find that working with eConfig is very simple. Jan, maybe I forgot to show something regarding.
Yes, I have one thing to add, and that's it, that we haven't mentioned the demo.
Yeah.
So in eConfig, when you after installation, you can find already in the folder of eConfig a few projects which are intended to show you what are the capabilities of the software and how to work with it. And these demo projects, I will now show you how to get to them. So if I open project, and these demo projects are in eConfig folder, demo, and each of the projects supposed to show you one particular part of software and what is capable of, or how to deal with something. And what is really interesting, for example, this distribution boards XVTL demo. When I open it, close quick help, and here you can find whole switchgear room, and this demo shows you how to create such a huge switchgear room, and really how to make also such a big project. So as you can see here, this is not just one household distribution board, but really huge room. And even these projects you are able to do with eConfig.
You can see the possibilities of the software in the demo projects, and also you can copy the objects from the demo and use it for your project. It can help you in some way, maybe.
Yes, and just do modify it according to your needs. And sometimes it's faster than to make new projects from scratch. So we encourage you to use these demo projects as a starting point of your next work. To try to work with them or play with them, editing them, to really see the possibilities and how it works.
Okay, so maybe we then can jump to the last topic of our training, and this is the temperature rise calculation, which is very important and should be done for each distribution board. So we will again use the distribution board we are just have designed, and we want to calculate the temperature rise for that assembly. For that, we have to go to the tab distribution board below, and there is a function called temperature rise calculation for the selected distribution board. If we click on that function, we can choose two different approaches how to verify the temperature rise. It's according to the standard 61439. I will quickly show you both approaches. So if we choose the first one, when we are comparing the heat losses, it's the more simple approach. In the window which appears, we have here maximum power loss for distribution board. It's 374 watts per enclosure. Then we have to calculate the power losses of the fitted devices and wires, and then compare them with this value maximum power losses for distribution board. So power losses of fitted devices is econfig calculated automatically, because in the database of the devices we have also information about the power loss. So econfig will automatically calculate the power losses of devices, and then we have to define the power losses of wires. We can either put some value directly in the window here, or we can use the simple calculator here. We can select the type of the wire. So, for example, wire with cross section 6 millimeters square. Length of the wire in the enclosure will be 4 meters. Rated current will be 20 amps, and econfig will calculate the power losses for such a conductor. Of course, we have to write here all the wires we are using in our distribution board.
Which are only placed in the distribution board.
Yeah. Only the wires which are in the distribution board, which are generating heat in the distribution board. Yeah, and then we can click on the OK button, and econfig will take the power losses of the conductors and write it here. And as a last step, we have to also choose the coincidence factor or rated diversity factor. According to the standard, we can write a value directly in the window, or we can click on the settings and choose the rated or coincidence according the number of outgoing circuits as stated in standard. Then econfig will calculate the power losses of devices and wires and compare it to the maximum power loss for distribution board. As we can see, 13 watts are less than 374 watts. Then result is that the switchboard is compliant. We can export this little calculation to Excel. So we have some let's say protocol, or how to call it, protocol about the calculation, and we can use it later. Okay, so that was the more simple way of verifying the temperature rise based on comparing the power losses. Let me just quickly show you the more complicated way, which can be used also for enclosures up to 1600 amps. In this approach, we are not comparing the power losses, but we are calculating the temperature inside the enclosure, and then we have to check if the devices in our enclosure can work in such conditions, in such temperature conditions which we calculated. So as you can see, the calculation is much more complicated. We have to choose first the method of installation. In our case, it can be, for example, a standalone distribution board for wall mounting. We have to choose ambient temperature because we are calculating the temperature here. So for example, 25 degrees. We can define ventilation holes, area of ventilation holes, number of horizontal partitions. Yeah, and then we have power losses of devices, again automatically calculated by econfig. Then again we have to define the power losses of wires. It works the same way as in the previous calculation, so we can use calculator here. Then we have to choose the coincidence factor, and beside the wires we have also here the possibility to choose the power losses of main bus bars and distribution or dropper bus bars. So econfig has here some predefined values we can use. We have to choose a cross-section of the bus bars, length of the bus bars and current, and then econfig will calculate the power losses. It works the same way for dropper bus bars. Then according these inputs, econfig will calculate the temperature inside the enclosure. Results of the calculation are can be shown by clicking on the calculation button. And as you can see, econfig are showing us three temperatures in three different heights in enclosure. It starts in half in height, top quarter in height, and top part. The higher the part of the enclosure, the higher the temperature. So in the top part of the enclosure we have 30 degrees, and in the half of the enclosure we have 28 degrees, and ambient temperature is 25 degrees. That means outside the enclosure the air has temperature of 25 degrees. We can also show the details of that calculation, and also we can export this calculation to Excel. And how we should work with these results. After we have temperatures calculated for each height of switchgear, we have to check if the devices fitted in the particular height of the switchgear can work with such temperature which was calculated. Okay, so that's all from my side. Jan, maybe I forgot something?
No, I think you have covered it all.
Okay.
For the rest who wants already finish with the training, we want to say very best and we thank you for participation in this training. So thank you very much and see you in another meeting in the future. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.